Okay, so it's February 18th, and I'm going to hand over to Annika immediately. It is, yeah, it is. It is. It is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's your stage. I will be listening because you said it's going to be my month. Is it now? Is it the season?
It's
Yeah,
it's this time of the year.
it's the time of the year where we turn a year older.
Your stage, actually. But I'll be on the stage for just an hour and then you can go back
Yeah.
for the whole month.
4 months. Oh, good. Oh, goody, goody, goody. All right, I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Okay, so welcome everyone who's joining live and who will watch the recording. So yes, we are already in Pisces season. The sun moved into Pisces today, a few hours ago, I think. And with that, I'm going to start the screen share. Okay, why is it not going in here?
Do I need to make you a host or something?
No, I don't think so. I just don't see or is it Google? Oh, I think it's this one. Okay.
Yeah, things
I
do
didn't
move
see the
around.
presentation on the screen share as an option.
I see.
But now I just shared the
Yeah,
browser
can see it.
and now here we go. Okay. So February 18th to March 20th, we are in Pisces season. And we just learned that Katrin is a Pisces. So she will listen carefully.
Still a Pisces. How is that possible?
Yeah, still a Pisces, a late one. So we have, oops, what did I do? Jesus. So we have here all the keywords and the themes, the sign of Pisces. The element is water, of course, makes sense. Pisces water is associated with like the big ocean, the kind of water that is all encompassing, that kind of binds everything, that like when you spill a glass of water, the water goes everywhere. There's like no boundaries to the wateriness with Pisces. It's ruled by Neptune, the god of the sea, and also by Jupiter. That's the traditional ruler. So with some signs we have one ruling planet, and with others we have two. And that has to do with the fact that in the ancient times there were no telescopes, so some planets were not discovered until the last 2 centuries. So Neptune was discovered, I think, in the 1900s, and ancient astrologers didn't know about Neptune, so they assigned Jupiter as the ruler of Pisces. Modern astrologers, which are like 20th century astrologers, then thought that Neptune should be the ruling planet of Pisces. And then some people do it like this, some people do it like that, and some consider both as ruling planets. I think they both rule Pisces for different reasons, but I think Neptune is the real ruler in a way, the real deal. The quality is mutable, so the sign is at the end of a season. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we go from winter to spring with Pisces. So there is something about ending something and then starting something new, the change, the flexibility, adaptability that all of the mutable signs have. Pisces has that as well. So this can be seen as a strength of Pisces, that it's very, I mean, it is fluid, it is water, it is very adaptable. It doesn't tend to get stuck as easily as other signs in life. Some of the keywords: ethereal, empathic, sensitive, receptive, kind, spiritual, psychic, artistic, dreamy, and magical, impressionable. And then some of the not the sort of shadowy sides are that Pisces can be a bit escapist, confused, projecting, and needy. So that's the downside of having little boundaries. The themes for this season, dreams and imagination. So Pisces being ruled by Neptune, which has to do with water and ocean, but also with artistry and imagination. Neptune is often very strong in charts that of people who are photographers, filmmakers, actors, actresses, who kind of like to imagine a world, making a world up and then making an art out of that. Dreams, imagination, so daydreaming, exploring the subconscious, spirituality and mysticism. Pisces transcends that which is which has boundaries and that which is of this earth, which is matter. And it's more interested in like the beyond the real world and the beyond the material world. So there's always this interest in what is beyond, like what is beneath the words that somebody says, what is nonverbal communication, what is energy that we can feel, maybe that we can sense. Pisces is really good at kind of taking up the energy of a room, reading the energy of people, even if they don't say anything. Compassion and empathy, so offering help and healing, emotional support to others in need. Intuition and psychic awareness, I already kind of spoke about that. Strengthening our inner knowing and extrasensory perception. Emotional healing, releasing past wounds and engaging in self-care for the soul. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And so it has to do with endings, finding like a release point before we start anew. And here in the Northern Hemisphere, that's kind of really, there's this nice correlation with going from winter to spring. So winter being this time where we, that often feels like something is ending, and then there's spring and something new is emerging, new life is being born with the sign of Aries then. And so it is about releasing what we no longer need, also to move on, to start something new. Surrender and letting go. I already mentioned that with the mutability, that Pisces is really good at just going with the flow and like trusting the flow of life, releasing control over what cannot be changed. Creativity and artistic expression, channeling emotions into music, poetry, painting, or other artistic outlets. Fantasy and escapism, enjoying movies, books, anything that takes you into another world, other forms of escape, but being mindful of reality. The downside of Pisces, and also those of us who have Neptune strong in our charts, is that we can get lost in a world or we can get lost in work. We can get lost in drinking too much, in drugs, in relationships, losing our boundaries. All of that is kind of a little bit of what we need to watch out for, the pitfalls of Pisces season. Merging and divine love, recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and embracing unconditional love, but being mindful of boundaries again. So together with Aquarius, Pisces is the sign that has to do with the collective. With Aquarius, it is more about like mentally, socially engaging with each other, organizing in groups, in parties, political parties, group interests. And with Pisces is more the feeling, because it's water element, so it has to do with emotions. So feeling connected to each other and like putting yourself in the shoes of someone else, feeling what they're feeling. And so this empathy, and like we all have to go through grief. We all feel what it's like to fall in love with somebody, this all togetherness, that which all connects us. That is very Piscean. In the body, Pisces rules the feet. Often dancers have strong Pisces or strong Neptune in their chart. The toes, the ankles, the heel, the lymph. So some of the fluids of the body, the scalp, armpits, the perineum, and the endocrine system. Okay. Any questions? Anything you'd like to say about that? For some reason, I lost my little Zoom window, but you're still there.
Yeah.
I hope.
We are here
Already
listening.
the boundaries are disappearing, or
What happened?
but I can still feel your energy.
See? Yeah, we are here.
Good. So then we have here some suggestions for how to align your wellness aromatherapy business with the energies of the season for blends. And as always, I ask ChatGPT for help with this presentation in general, but especially here for this part. And I think I will just read the names. They're always quite inspiring, I think, for blend ideas. And then you can just read through the ingredients and maybe let us know what you think, if that makes sense or not. So we have Mystic Dreams, Lucid Moon, Let It Flow, Divine Intuition, Cosmic Calm, and Sacred Grounding. So the last one, I actually asked ChatGPT to add something that is also encouraging a bit of like grounding and counterbalancing all of this mystical, intuitive energy that just goes out, bringing it back to the ground, and to help Pisces to be more centered while still embracing their intuitive gifts. Any comments on the ingredients for these?
Yeah, I like I don't like cedar wood on its own so much, but I can see it in the combination with
Or Let It Flow for
yeah.
emotional release and ease.
I really love vetiver, and I do like ylang ylang a lot too. But
And the Cosmic Calm blend also sounds really nice. The vetiver
right,
lavender and
with
benzoin.
the benzoin in it, right? That's
Yeah, I'm curious about making that actually.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, if you make it, Karin, let me know.
Yeah, I will make it then. Then there's two
Send it
reasons to make it, you and me.
Yeah, I would love
birthday
to.
gift to Katrin.
Yeah, I'll write it. Yeah, sure.
No, it's beautiful.
And you know
Mm.
what? I also think that aromatherapy is really Piscean, because I mean it is about fluids and about like
Totally.
ethereal using the senses, but not like we're not really touching or swallowing anything. It's kind of more diffuse a little bit.
Mm.
So I think that actually aromatherapy makes a lot of sense in combination with Pisces season.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mhm.
good.
and
Yeah.
it makes also sense with all the aromatherapy successes around it. I think around the whole world, especially in the Nordic countries, people are almost obsessed by smells, and a
Yeah.
lot of them don't know about that a lot of it is artificial, but they want to go the natural way also. So there are
Mm.
two things: there's the smell and the natural.
I wonder if
So,
that is Karin because our spring and summer is so little there with all the blooming and the flowers. If people love
Mhm.
in the winter months to just still
Mm.
get a little whiff of, herbs or flowers or so, I can see that. I mean, it's white, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice to diffuse something beautiful inside.
Yeah, that makes sense to me as well. I have
Mm.
never thought about it this way, but yeah. So that would mean that people in like countries where it's always summer, they don't need, they're not into aromatherapy as much.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it is just more
Tropical
available
places.
yeah, in a natural way, it is more available. Your senses
Mm.
are much more
Yeah, right.
awakened, I think, in tropical places and in
Yeah,
warmer places.
yeah,
And here,
yeah.
when you step outside, you just
Yes.
fresh air, which is great, but not
Mm.
so much of
Yeah.
the aromas. Like in
Mm.
Crete, for example, right? I would imagine if you walk in
Mm.
Crete and you have all the herbs and helichrysum and whatnot else available,
Mm.
or the Mediterranean or so, then you might be almost more an herbalist than an aromatherapist.
Yeah. Or an
Ah,
astrologer.
yeah.
We have the
That
Greek
actually
god.
makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because Greece is also very important
Yeah,
in
but it
this.
also makes sense with the warm herbs and citruses, I think. That would be wonderful for outdoor sunny periods. But I don't know if I will definitely see how it will be in the summer here in Copenhagen, because I would say last summer people also really rushing for and sucking for that kind of experiments.
Yeah,
But yeah, sure there must be some differences between winter and summer.
yeah,
Mm.
it would be interesting to
Yeah.
go there. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the second slide.
Hi, Roxandra. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, everyone. Second slide, some ideas for events and workshops for this season, a dream work and aromatherapy. Teaching clients how to use essential oils for dream recall, relaxation, and lucid dreaming. I like that. Emotional release and scent therapy, guiding participants through using scents to process emotions and find inner peace. And then any water-themed wellness rituals, sharing self-care practices, incorporating water elements such as bath rituals with essential oils, of course, Pisces being a water sign. Marketing and branding, using soft ethereal branding, using dreamy pastel blues, purples, and oceanic imagery in your visuals. Yeah, good idea. Mystical messaging, use phrases like surrender to serenity, trust the flow, awaken your intuition. Storytelling and emotion-driven content, sharing client stories, personal reflections, or poetic messages to create deeper connections with your audience. Yeah, so all of this emotional connection. Now in Aquarius season, we were more of like sharing ideas. Now we want to share feelings. Okay, and then the last one for collaborations and anything has to do with other people, community. Some ideas would be Reiki and energy healing. That's very Piscean, of course. Again, energy, something that you can't really grasp or touch. And healing is everything, all the healing arts have. I know a lot of body workers who have strong Pisces in their chart, and they're great healers with their work. Most of them also have some Taurus in their chart because of the touch in the body. I think if it's just Pisces without any earth, any Taurus, then maybe it would really be more of an energy healing kind of healing art, or aromatherapy, something where you don't really engage with the body so directly. Working with energy healers to incorporate aromatherapy into their sessions. Yoga and sound healing studios. Sound is also music, very much related to Pisces, because it's also something that that you can't touch, a sound that's kind of out of this material world, even though you use materials to create the sound. Offer custom blends for yoga, meditation, and sound healing classes. And I know Karin is doing work with sound and music, so that makes sense for this season. Healing through creativity, collaborate with artists and host art therapy or music-infused wellness sessions to align with Pisces' artistic nature. Yeah.
I just got a really weird idea.
Yeah.
When you say when the word music infused wellness, it's like, could you actually be total physical in that way and then infuse your blends with actually music?
Yeah.
Can you, while creating the blends, like the cows when they were playing Beethoven or something, they give a lot more milk. Like what you create a kind of yeah, kind of ambience in a room or a place where you could make a hard rock thing and you can make a Beethoven thing. So how could the sound actually infuse the oils?
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, you have seen that now, Karin, how the sound works with the plants and the oils
And this is actually really funny because it's the next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that we will have the exhibition itself and the concerts itself. And I'm really excited about the whole room and the physical concert. We're having 1 hour a day with the guitar. And then the whole 8 hours a day are the sounds, the electronic sounds. So I'm really curious about how I myself will perceive the room and how the people coming there, how will they perceive the sound, the smells, the how will it not overwhelm them, but what will happen with people there? So that's really an exciting. So how is it when the things get infused with music? Yeah, and I will definitely tell you about it and
yeah.
yeah,
I really
share
think that
if you
is
want to hear.
possible.
Yeah. Hvad siger du, Rosanna?
I really think that's possible when you play the music to change the frequency of the oils because I mean usually they're saying to put your intention in it and like if you hold like the bottle in your hand yourself too, it's changing because of your own energy. So it would be actually interesting, but I mean, I know we cannot afford to do that, to take some measurements, like the frequency of the oils, the single oils, and then the blend made with and without music to see if there's a difference. But I think it is possible.
Yeah, and you could even actually got another idea that relates to that. You could even maybe like a loudspeaker. If you have a loudspeaker with a great bass, you can feel the vibe. So you can make your blend table on top of a loudspeaker.
The boom box right next to it while you're
boombox.
I can see Karin like totally rocking out.
Are you
see your
coming?
clients afterwards going, ooh.
Yeah. This is the cosmic calm blend. So
it is
okay, Karin, you're next.
It's calming, but in a freaky way.
Yeah, freaky calming. Cool.
Yeah, I also like the word frequency for Pisces because also the psychics, they often talk about energetic frequency, that there are like that depending on our state of mind or mood, we have a different frequency, or maybe we each have a certain kind of frequency, and then there are other people who match that frequency or they don't. So kind of aligning with other people energetically in that way. That just popped into my head that because I'm kind of quite interested in like psychic work and paranormal things, and there's often talk about frequencies as well. Yeah,
I can see that.
And the word paranormal is actually really also, I think it's a very strong Pisces things also.
Right.
And
yeah,
paranormal evening blend.
Yeah.
For lucid dreams.
Just a paranormal evening blend.
Paranormal, paranoid. Bye.
Paranoid. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the schedule. Key dates.
The schedule.
The schedule now. Back to
I know how
ways of doing this.
You must feel when I say funnels and KPIs. Schedule.
So we have a couple of things here this month or this 4 weeks. We have some nice Mercury aspects at the beginning of the season that I'll talk about. Then Mars will station direct, so it starts to move forward. in my mouth, it's still moving backwards. Mars has been retrograde for forever, so we'll talk about that. We have a new moon in Pisces next week when Karin has her music sound thing. That's perfect timing. Then Venus is going retrograde. Yay! Mercury moves into Aries. We have a full moon, which is also an eclipse, and then Mercury is going retrograde. So 2 retrogrades and 1 eclipse. That's quite a lot, I think, for one season. Starting with the Mercury aspects. Mercury, the planet of communication, business transactions, processing ideas, talking, traveling, making a schedule, is quite active these 4 weeks. There's a lot going on around Mercury in different ways. In the first few days until March 2nd, we have some good support from other planets coming in, so we could use these days or just this time frame for doing really Mercury stuff a lot, which we already do as business people. Writing, talking, speaking, organizing, so on. Mercury is in Pisces, so it's in the same sign as the sun. So here it functions in a more intuitive, dreamy, creative way, not so linear, not so logical. First of all, it's going to make an aspect to Jupiter, and I wrote here February 20th. This is the exact date, but as I often mention, there is like it extends kind of beyond that February 20th, a few days before, a few days after, and then on that day, it'll be exact, that aspect. It'll be most potent, the energy. This would be a good time to refine your messaging to be inspiring and insightful, because Jupiter has to do with inspiration and thinking big, being optimistic. It amps everything up, but it's a square aspect, so that's a bit tricky. So you also want to be mindful of not getting on a high horse, not over-promising in business deals, but definitely it's an optimistic aspect that brings optimism. Then we have a nice aspect to Mars. Mars is action, it's doing things. How can your intuition, Pisces, help you to be confident and to take decisive action? There's an aspect to Saturn, discipline, structure, boundaries, getting things done, the real world, just I think that's a good aspect to have for Mercury and Pisces, some real world support. Structure your communication with discipline and clarity. Commit to writing an article, for example, make a to-do list. So anything that has to do with structuring, organizing, long-term planning. A nice aspect to Uranus, totally different energy, thinking outside the box, trying an innovative marketing strategy, playing with technology to reach a wider audience. Brings excitement, brings new things, new ideas. And then finally, Mercury makes a conjunction with its ruling planet, Neptune. So that's like a double Mercury in Pisces. So tapping into storytelling, visual branding to create a mystical, emotionally compelling connection with your customers. It's also March 2nd, then Mercury in Pisces coming together with Neptune. It's so like intuitive and so flowing, and like you might actually feel the blends all of a sudden. Yeah. Okay, so then we have on February 23rd, Mars finally moves forward. It went retrograde on December 7th. Maybe some of you remember, long time ago. Mars has to do with well, I wrote it here. The question kind of, how have you been feeling about your business direction lately? Have you noticed any delays or shifts in areas tied to Mars ambition, passion, energy management during Mars retrograde? This is a good time to focus on business strategies that emphasize emotional connection, because Mars is in Cancer now. Cancer is, like Pisces, a water sign that has to do with home, with feeling safe, feeling secure, with family, with sensitivity. So business strategies that emphasize emotional connection, home-based wellness solutions, or personalized client care. It's a one-on-one energy with Cancer, working with one other person rather than with a group. With Mars moving forward in Cancer, there may be a desire for comfort and emotional healing, which you can tap into by offering products, services that support a cozy, nurturing atmosphere. If you've been reassessing your goals, the station direct marks a turning point for taking action. However, Mars isn't as comfortable in Cancer, because Mars has to do with like fire and masculine energy and doing things and the warrior, but Cancer is like the mother energy. So it's a bit of an odd placement. Mars doesn't function as straightforward in Cancer as it does in Aries, for instance. Isn't as comfortable in Cancer, and we have some retrogrades coming up. So progress may still feel a bit cautious, leaning into intuitive decision-making and prioritizing self-care, also very Cancerian, rather than rushing into aggressive action. Later in April, Mars will go into Leo, where it originally was on December 7th when it stationed retrograde. And there it will be a lot more comfortable, because Leo is a fire sign. So we kind of have to get to that to feel the Mars energy, really. Then on February 27th, we have a new moon in Pisces, very lovely, dreamy. The themes: using your intuition in business, trusting the flow, not the strategy, emotional well-being. The new moon brings a deeply intuitive and creative energy, perfect for setting intentions that align with your spiritual and emotional fulfillment. Encourages imagination, compassion, and visionary thinking, making this a great time to tap into your intuition and dream big. There's an aspect to Jupiter to the new moon. So again, this Jupiter brings optimism, it brings big things, it's hopeful, it's wise, it seeks wisdom, knowledge. Focus on aspects of your business that have to do with healing, artistry, and emotional connection. Remind yourself to stay grounded, to avoid getting lost in unrealistic ideals. The question could be, how can your inner knowledge, how can your inner knowing help you to make more aligned business decisions? So we want to, with Pisces season, we kind of really want to learn how to use our intuition more in our business. And I think there are people or books or teachers who you could research how to really use intuition practically in, for business strategies. Meditation, visualization, and journaling could help clarify your business vision, while trusting your instincts will guide you toward inspired and meaningful action decisions. Okay.
Annika, when you say dream big, but then it says also stay grounded. Well,
yeah, the energy of that day is more, it wants us to dream big, but that is why we also need to find a way to stay grounded, so it doesn't we don't get carried away with just like, you know, dreaming and intuiting. Like, that's the theme, but then also maybe take care on that day to maybe go for a walk and touch a tree or something.
You coming with tree hugging?
Yeah, for instance, tree hugging.
It's very interesting because
it's a very dreamy day, but it's not necessarily a great day to like do a lot of like to do your taxes.
Oh gosh, no, we're gonna do those ones on April 14th.
Okay.
But I'm just wondering because being a Pisces in my world, I dream every freaking day.
Yeah.
And it's almost hard to then see what is the grounded, oh, what would be the grounded way or unrealistic
Well,
ideals, not following them because
well, maybe just tracking what you're sensing, how you're feeling, that you're not losing yourself in dreaming, like making, if you're, over dreaming, I don't know, if you're overworking, dreaming in your work, that like just like, oh, I haven't had breakfast yet. Like Pisces can be quite neglecting of those things that just are part of everyday life, that you need to eat, you need to do the laundry, like the practical things. I mean, it's just one day. I guess even if you didn't eat for one day, it would be okay. But
I'll try that.
but you might feel, as someone with a lot of Pisces energy, you might feel like, oh my God, I'm really like, there was something I wanted to do today. I can't remember what it is. Like that part of you might get even stronger. The one that is just always, always just taking care of other people. For instance, Pisces is so like in touch with other humans, with animals, with like, how are you feeling? But I can forget that I also exist. So that could be stronger on that day as a more like pitfall, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and unrealistic ideals. It's just if you're pondering something that you want to do, can I actually manage? Can this really be done, and how? And thinking about the steps, also the practical steps, I guess. But I really like this new moon. I think and it's really nice for doing something like Karin does that already has to do with, music or aromatherapy. I think for all aromatherapists is a great day. It's not maybe a great day for someone who works with finances. But yeah. So then, what was that? February 27th. A few days later, Venus goes retrograde. Venus is the planet of beauty, aesthetics, all like pleasure, relationships as well, business and romantic, and finances. Also has to do with worth, what we assign value to, like material things, but also like our self-worth. And it's a planet has to do with femininity, of course. So Venus will be in the sign of Aries when it goes retrograde, and then later it moves into Pisces. So we have like a first part of the retrograde in Aries, and then a second one in Pisces. Well, we'll talk about Aries only because that's this for Pisces season. Venus will be retrograde only in Aries. Aries is another paradox, like Mars in Cancer. Venus in Aries, it's like Venus is the receptive, the feminine quality, and Aries is the sign that's ruled by Mars. It has to do with fire and like doing things quick, and weapons, and a kind of awesome how we manage our anger and our energy. So Venus in Aries can be a very empowering aspect or time for women who do things by themselves, like female-led businesses, because Aries is the sign of the solo. It's like me. I just like also a bit of like having the sign that has to do with developing a healthy ego, but also of experiencing yourself as an entity. So it's different from Pisces, where everything is just merging. Pisces is associated also with like the water in the womb, where we're kind of just swimming. We're not really yet there. We don't have a full shape yet. We are not on this planet yet, or not on this in life. And we are merged with mother. So there's no distinction maybe. And then the being born, it has to do with Aries. Suddenly I'm there and I'm like, I'm a person. So while Venus is moving backwards, it's not able to function as fully here in Aries, but there is a time where we kind of have to reflect on some of these things, like being a solo entrepreneur, a female solo entrepreneur. So I wrote here, our businesses may experience a period of self-reflection on leadership, that's Aries, branding and financial worth, that's Venus. Aries independent energy pushes you to reassess confidence, boundaries, and assertiveness in business relationships, all of which are really great for Venus and Aries. But while it's retrograde, it's like there's a period of going over our past decisions. Maybe we often meet, when Venus is retrograde, we often meet lovers from the past, partners from the past, business partners from the past. We have to reassess relationships, creative decisions we've made. If you've been undercharging or overworking, this retrograde invites you to slow down and find a balance between action and receptivity. Power struggles in partnerships may surface, and branding or messaging might feel misaligned, making this a great time for internal revision rather than major public changes. To harness this energy, focus on refining your leadership presence, reassessing business relationships, and ensuring your pricing reflects your true worth. New projects or rebrands are best launched after Venus goes direct. So that's our first retrograde. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. Otherwise, I'll just move on. And then right after that, Mercury also goes into Aries, from Pisces into Aries, and it'll go retrograde later on, also in Aries. So there's a lot happening in the signs of Pisces and Aries. Mercury in Aries brings a bold, fast-paced, and assertive energy to communication and decision-making. During this transit, thinking becomes direct, action-oriented, and focused on quick results. You may feel more confident in expressing ideas, taking initiative, making swift business decisions. Mercury in Aries supports direct communication, so refine your messaging to be clear, impactful, and compelling. Just ensure that enthusiasm is paired with strategy to sustain long-term success. Aries can be really like good at starting things and like, I have this idea, I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this, but it's not always so good at the long-term thing. In general, this is a great time for launching new projects, asserting leadership, and cutting through delays with a decisive mindset. However, be mindful of impulsiveness. Rushing into plans without careful consideration could lead to oversights, especially since Mercury will go retrograde. So this is kind of like Mercury in Aries is like, I'm ready to go. But then it also starts to go backwards. And we have Venus going backwards in Aries as well. So a bit tricky, but maybe this first part until March 15th is easier to work with. If there is anything you need to decide quickly, something that you want to start that you don't want to think about too much, it's better to do that before the retrograde or after, if you can wait.
Annika, the previous slide is basically saying calma, stay calm, don't launch, be careful. And the second one allows us somehow to launch and be fast in decision making.
Well, because it's not yet retrograde. Here we have just, this is like a general description of Mercury in Aries, while this is a description of Venus retrograde in Aries. We will have a description of Mercury retrograde in Aries as well in a few slides.
Why don't you just say go and take a vacation?
Yeah.
Because I surely wouldn't know what to do left and right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with the retrogrades, it's always a bit confusing, especially if there are two.
Yeah.
But, you know, Pisces season, go with the flow. Just, you know, see what you can do and what cannot be done, where there are obstacles. Just hang in there, I guess.
Sounds lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Mercury. On March 11th, there is a nice conjunction between Mercury and Venus. Announce your bravest desires, I wrote down, because it's in Aries. Write a love note to your fellow female entrepreneur, because we have Venus in Aries. We could use this. Mercury is the talking, the writing, the speaking. Venus is feminine energy. And also beauty. So whenever Mercury and Venus aligns, that's a nice energy for writing, for like finding the right words, the beautiful words to shape a good sentence. Cheer each other on. Yeah. Why not? Then we have, I think this is a full moon, and then we have Mercury retrograde. So 2 more things. On March 14th, we have a full moon that is also an eclipse in Virgo. The moon is in Virgo, opposes the sun in Pisces. So there is an opposition between 2 different energies. We need to balance always with oppositions. Structure, that is Virgo, with surrender, Pisces. Logic, Virgo, with intuition, Pisces. Completion of a cycle. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. This eclipse serves as a reset, helping you to fine-tune your business processes and establish a healthier balance between planning and trusting the flow. Use Virgo's practical energy to refine your workflow and declutter physical or digital spaces. So Virgo always wants to sort, like this, we need this, we don't need that. Pisces, it's not, yeah, Pisces can sometimes be quite like, oh, take all the things, I take all the animals that are hurt into my apartment, into my house, and all the things that other people want to get rid of, just give it to me, I take it all. And then it's like, well, too much. So that this would be a good day to get rid of things. Systems and routines that no longer serve you, should be adjusted or released. Ensure that you're not getting lost again in unrealistic ideals or bogged down in perfectionism, which that can happen when there's too much Virgo. Virgo governs health and routines, making this an important time to check in on your personal well-being. Take steps to create healthier boundaries, very important for Pisces, and routines. So we have Virgo coming in. Virgo is earth, it's solid, it's logic, it's pragmatic. So it can help here on this day to get things done a little bit. But yeah, I'm thinking really more of like getting rid of stuff, decluttering, especially because right after that eclipse, Mercury starts to go retrograde. And then it's really hard to organize, or it is harder maybe to organize and bring structure into our everyday life. So we could use this day to release things. Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, it has to do with release. Full moons are in a way also endings. New moons are more have to do with beginnings. And because it's also an eclipse, if you remember that eclipses happen twice a year or 4 times a year, there's a set of 2 eclipses. This is the first one, and we have another one 2 weeks later, and then the next set of eclipses is in the fall. And they have to do with endings and beginnings as well. Eclipses confront us with results of past actions. Things may come to a head, so watching out for new things rolling into your life that feel faded. Eclipses are said to be 3 times more powerful than regular new moons and full moons, so the energy is very heightened here and it can feel disruptive, which is why it's best to not plan too much for that day, but just kind of in a Piscean way, just observe and go with the energy or whatever is happening. Just take it in, see what emerges. Maybe some journaling again, some music, maybe that will spark an idea of like, I think there is something about and there's something about endings here, because we have Pisces season, the last sign of the zodiac. We have the retrogrades in Aries and Pisces. So we kind of go over this line of the last sign and the new sign, the what was in the past and what is starting. We go back and forth a little. It's like something is happening, something is shifting. There's something new that wants to emerge, but we're not sure yet what it is. So I think this eclipse is more about really thinking about what you need to release before something new can come. And then also importantly, if you remember in January, we talked about that there are so many planets changing signs this year, which is really quite profound. There are all of the slow moving planets are changing signs, starting in spring, starting with Neptune, the planet that rules Pisces, which has been in Pisces, in the sign of its rulership, for the last 14 years. And it will change into Aries at the end of March. So that's a big thing. Later on in May, Saturn will also move from Pisces to Aries. And then we have the 2 retrogrades in Pisces and Aries. So it's like different variations of this theme of something is coming to, something is closing, something is coming to an end. And we have this fresh energy of Aries, which is like, wow, like this being born and like totally new fire energy. But we need to kind of prepare ourselves in a way, I think, to be able, like to be a good vessel for that. And especially with Neptune, because it's been in Pisces for 14 years, such a long time. And it takes 165 years to go through the whole zodiac. So this, at the end of March, for the first time in 165 years, Neptune will move into the first sign of the zodiac. So Pisces, letting go, releasing something. Maybe something comes up around the full moon where you're like, oh my God, this is really, I've been hanging on to this so much. Maybe some healing of old wounds, maybe some ways of how you've been doing business that you just felt like for a long time, this doesn't really feel right, but it's like, I don't know how to move on from this and change it. And maybe something emerges around this full moon. I think that could happen. That helps us to release that final thing that we need to release so we can welcome the new. And then one day later, Mercury goes retrograde, which I think is interesting because like the full moon, an eclipse, something might happen, something coming up, and then we're like, wait a minute, we need to change our thinking. Like we need to pause and switch gears and go back and slow down. Mercury will be retrograde in Aries, same as Venus, first in Aries, later on in Pisces. Just a reminder, Mercury governs thought, communication, transaction, technology, short distance travel. So it's important for business. And this is for every retrograde, Mercury retrograde, no matter if it's in Aries, Pisces, whatever sign, it affects technical issues, leads to technical issues, affects communication, negotiations may stall, travel may be delayed or disrupted, hacking attacks, shipping, delivery of goods and people may be affected. Some tips to navigate Mercury in retrograde: pause before acting. Aries thrives on quick action, but with Mercury retrograde, hasty choices may backfire. Avoid making big commitments or implementing new business strategies without careful review. Avoid jumping into new contracts, deals, or investments. Instead, take time to reflect and refine your approach. So this idea of, going back, reviewing, refining, revisiting something that you started and checking like if that still feels correct, if you need to change something. Think before speaking. This is always hard for Mercury in Aries. Aries' blunt nature combined with retrograde miscommunication can lead to misunderstandings, impatience, or unnecessary conflicts. Choose your words carefully, especially in professional settings. Watch out for misinterpreted emails, messages, or social media posts. Recheck all details. This is also for every Mercury retrograde period, regardless of the sign. Proofread marketing materials, double check appointments, review financial transactions to prevent errors. And then directing that energy into something productive, like strategy. If you feel frustrated by the delays, which can happen because Mercury in Aries likes to be quick. It doesn't want to think about what it wants to do too long. It just wants to do it. Just do it. So when it goes backwards, there's like this, maybe this sense of frustration that has to, like, you know, I have to be patient, I have to think it over. Channeling that energy into planning, so working on long-term strategies rather than pushing for immediate results. It's kind of what we need to maybe learn a little bit in that time. Consider, I added that because Aries is ruled by Mars. It has to do with activity, with physical activity, with getting your heart rate up. And so a good way to channel the retrograde energy, Mercury and Venus, is to maybe take up some cardio workouts, some strength training, kickboxing, martial arts, to release the built up tension, to clear your mind and to regain focus. So sports is really super with Aries always. So working with this energy instead of against it. Don't let it lead to too much frustration, but just kind of find ways to channel your emotions. And so that you will emerge more focused, more confident, and prepared to take the bold action once Mercury stations direct. Happy Pisces season. That's an image by an artist named Rachel Garar. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I've been following her work for a while. I really like her. And I think this is nice because it has the ocean imagery, the sea, but also the details and the Virgo. I think this is a nice image for the Virgo full moon. So paying attention to all the little details, organizing, and and maybe then the water is just going to wash everything away at some point. So it's like, we don't always need all the structure and the details, but yeah.
I found her on Instagram. She's got beautiful work.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Thank you, Annika. Yeah, Rachel Gara, she's on Instagram.
Yeah.
I wonder where she is. Artist working with painting, sculpture, video, and installations. Beautiful. Cool. Well, danke.
Almost on time.
Yeah, well, we started a little bit late.
Yeah.
That worked all out. Any
But
questions?
other people weren't on time.
Oh, there's the German. Luckily, you don't need to look for words, right?
I said ahead of time I will be late.
She did. She wrote a message and you didn't read it,
That's
Annika.
better than just being late. I have to agree.
You German.
Mommy
And now I also follow her. I see that you also follow her now, the garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gerhard.
The Gerhard.
Yeah.
I follow the Gerhard Karin.
Yeah. You do.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I like her. It's almost like one of them looks a little bit like Miro, and then hers
Yeah.
because it's a different color. But this one is really intriguing. This one I like a lot.
This one, we
like
don't
it.
know which one you're
No,
pointing.
No, I know. This one. Okay. I can show you. Like this one here. I don't know why, but it's so simple yet
Night journey. Yeah.
rock powder pigment on linen. Interesting. That's why I think it's the texture. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
also this one she makes like a kind of a sculpture. It's also
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very minimalistic yet beautiful. And
Yeah.
Yeah, sensitive, the structure of the things.
just
I had
tell
to look at her. I looked up her chart, but I don't remember. I think she was a Leo, but I wonder where her Neptune is.
okay, Annika. Glad
Now you're getting too nerdy.
now you're stalking her.
It's too much. Now we went through this whole presentation, and now now you're too nerdy.
Yeah.
I mean, Karin wanted to do a blend on a loudspeaker. I don't know. It doesn't get much nerdier than that.
But you like all the paranormal things,
Yeah.
Annika, you know. And all
Garden
the
crisp.
I'm not
paranormal
the only
sites are
crazy
coming.
person here.
Yeah, I once worked with children in a children's garden, and I was very young, and I was a bit timid, a bit shy or something. And then the leader of the gang, she said she was drunk at a Christmas thing, and then she said the only normal person here in this room is Karin, and I was like, me? Who are you talking about? But but I felt very flattered about it because I didn't feel normal at all. But
You
the most boring and landlady on earth.
certainly not. I mean, who puts essential oils on boom boxes is certainly not normal.
It could be fun, right? It could be fun.
See, you even just the thought of it could. I'm not sure about this group anymore. Slowly.
Yeah, it needs to change somehow.
Yeah, ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta go
Completion
now.
of a
Bye.
cycle. I've been feeling this for a long time. I don't really belong here anymore.
It's funny because that's what Steph always said for 60 years now. He doesn't feel he belongs into this world. I'm like, maybe it's time to change now. But yeah, no, thank you. Beautiful. Not sure what to do now with all of that. I'm just gonna go with the flow, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's different things going on, right?
Yeah, there are different things going on.
Things go back and forth. Yeah.
I don't know if I should like that retrograde going straight into my birthday.
And it's in mine as well. Roxandra,
Yeah,
we should
is
get
it?
together maybe and
It ends on my birthday.
oh, then you might
Oh,
be a lucky one.
maybe that feels like bumpy when you suddenly go from driving backwards to driving forwards.
Mhm.
She's
Everything
your
feels bumpy
daughter
right
trouble.
now.
I think we need all some rest, maybe.
Yeah, I
Rest?
think
What is that?
But you're right. First, the co-working session at 3 o'clock.
Exactly. And
I
it's
will
all the
sleep. I'll
mama in
use one.
between.
Yeah, I can sleep. I think I'm gonna rest an hour and then join you again.
Yeah, Annika, you can join too if you have something to do. You can also do some yoga. It's an hour of,
doing whatever. Very,
doing what
very
you want to
Piscean.
do. It's mostly I'm trying to use this hour for myself at least to get stuff done I normally don't like to do so much, but it's necessary. So
Okay.
that would be actually yoga for me. I should do that because it's necessary to move.
Your left shoulder.
Yeah,
Mm.
we'll see. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, the recording is still going. Ah, gosh. All this blabbering.
Oh.